葉北通，哇！1976啊？
係啊
1976喎。
所以睇到啊，本身呢嗰啲後照嚟。
啊！
陳永祥，
呢個好捧場啊！好啊！
上年嚟，今次復
啊！
你翻幅相啊！
一陣間啦，一陣間呀。
咁
可以開始，冇緊冇所謂，遲少少冇所謂。係啊，中大嘅1976嘅有好幾個畢業生，76啊，幾多年前啊，我都搞唔清。
阿樹紅幾多年啊？
樹紅後啲咯，
仲後啲啊？
嚇，不過佢話唔嚟得。
71年入學。
樹紅71啊？
唔係。入學啊。
哦。
71年嗰時未有電子係啊？有未啊？
有73、71開始，我73去嘅。
咁我哋呢啲考都考唔到嘅，所以冇諗過。我有同學係入咗中大電視，係
考唔到。
賺到真。
講笑啊！
或者打咗門先啦，等咗1-2分鐘啦，都唔緊要嘅。我諗開始就唔知。
你唔使講我啲資歷㗎啦，就。
哦，咁係咁易啦，係咁易啦，都要嘅。我唔服曬啦，太長。
唔使講啦。
太長啦。
阿碌哥已經講過，用曬我啲時候。
哦，係啊。好，我唔講。
係啊。
講少啲，講少啲。
係啊。
Okay, maybe we'll just start the seminar today. It is our great pleasure to have Professor Kai Fong Lee, Dean Emeritus of the School of Engineering at the University of Mississippi, to give a talk to us. Before we invite him to start his presentation, I will briefly introduce Lee, as he said. I don't want to take up too much of his time, but anyway, he had this 2-volume sort of autobiography, right?
Memoir.
Okay.
Stories from bygone years.
Yeah, and actually, he gave me a copy of this.
Very heavy.
And I took night. I read through it.
You just skip everything.
No, I did not. I did everything. So I think the way upbringing show us how eventually he become a world leader in the community. Okay, from a modest type of the secondary school student in a now the school is already gone. I mean, right? That I know.
That's not my problem.
That's not our problem, okay, of course. But it shows how we can actually strive for excellence and eventually we can all establish certain things, establish our own part in the world. Okay. Without actually going into the long introduction of Professor Lee, but what we should just say that Professor Lee received his PhD from Cornell University, and his supervisor is actually the famous professor, right? And let me see if I can recall.
He started a department also, UC San Diego.
Right, Don Farley. Is it Don Farley or no?
No, he started the EE department in UC San Diego.
Right.
So that inspired me
Right.
to start the department here.
Yeah, that is true. But your supervisor at Cornell
Is him.
is him, right?
Yeah,
That's
right.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
See, my memory is still okay. But he changed his field to antenna, right? That is true.
From plasmas to antennas.
Right. And then, and eventually, he received his in 2009. He received the IEEE Antenna and Propagation Society John Krause Antenna Award for his inventions of the use of patch antenna. He actually gave a talk last week.
Last Friday.
To share with us the history of the Unified Slot. And now, because I don't want to take up your time, so the floor is yours, Professor Lee. Let us welcome you.
Thank you very much, Professor Chi Chang. This is the second time that I visit Bato. You may recall in my visits in 2013 and 2015, each time I gave two talks. One is related to my research on antennas. Another is on a non-technical subject. The non-technical subject in 2013 was what I learned about leadership, non-technical. The non-technical topic I spoke on 2015 is even more strange. It's classical music appreciation for engineers. If you wonder why I would talk to an engineering audience on these rather weird topics, you can still listen to these lectures on YouTube. Pretty amazing. In this visit, I also gave two talks. One I gave last Friday is somewhat related to antennas. It's about the history of development of a special type of antenna. Today, the talk is entitled A Modest Proposal of a Topic to be Considered in Our Curriculum. Very strange sounding topic. In fact, it is so strange that I have a hard time coming up with an outline. The outline I eventually come up with simply consists of these four items. Preliminary remark, I guess what I'm speaking now is part of the preliminary remarks. Then a modest proposal. Then some personal experiences, and finally some concluding remarks. Let me begin by showing you some data, which I believe no professor has shown you in your class before. You can tell me whether I'm right or not. The life expectancy, according to the UN Population Division, for the year 2023, Hong Kong has the distinction of number one, with the life expectancy of 85.8 years, and is steadily increasing over the past half century. So we may reach 100 pretty soon. Macau is second, with a number very close to Hong Kong. Singapore is number 3, Taiwan number 4, the US number 47. Made me think about whether I should move back to Hong Kong. And then China number 52. Okay. Now, let's focus on Hong Kong. Let's assume the average life expectancy is something like 82 years. And the retirement age is 65. Then this diagram shows the various stages of such a life. Okay, so if a person start working after bachelor's degree, and then he retires at 65, lives to 85, his working years is something like 29 years, right? Is that right? Yeah, 29 years. And then his father?
40 some years.
40 some years, okay. And then his retirement years is 20 years. So it's almost half, but not quite half of the working years. If the guy goes on to get a PhD at age 26, then his working years is probably 39 years, and his retirement years is 20 years. So the retirement years is actually slightly more than half of the working years. So I'm posing two questions for this later stage here. Oh, this shows up. That's nice. I thought it won't show up because of the yellow shade. So two questions. First, has any professor in any course pointed out that you may have a long life after retirement and you should be prepared for it? Raise your hand if you have a professor tell you that. I don't see any hands. That's good, because if a professor tells you that, you probably think he's weird or he's teasing, you know. And then if his dean learns about it, he probably be fired. But I'm fine. I'm already retired. So I'm going to tell you that you may have a long life after retirement, and you should be prepared for it. The second question, does your formal education help you in this period of your life, which on the average may be 20 years or longer? Now, the formal let me give some context to the second question. By the way, in this working year period, our formal education, math, science, engineering, English, economics, etc., are going to help us in our working years. The question is whether these subjects that we learn formally in school will help us in our retirement years. So let me give you some context. Few of us, if any, would entertain ourselves with doing math or physics or any such subject when we retire, right? Can you imagine yourself doing math when you retire? In fact, so this is the same two questions. In fact, a British biologist named Thomas Huxley says, a man of science after the age of 60 does more harm than good. So you better quit doing science or engineering when you reach 60. I think this applies to most of us. In fact, it even applied to Einstein. Einstein spent the last 20 years of his life trying to work out a unified theory incorporating both general relativity and quantum field theory, quantum mechanics, and he failed miserably. In fact, it turned out what some physicists consider to be garbage, okay? There are, of course, exceptions. I can think of one exception, Professor K.M. Look. He's a man over 60, but he keeps on turning out excellent research on antennas. But he's an exception, okay? He's better than Einstein. Okay, so in any case, I think it is reasonable to say that our formal education does not really help us much in our retirement years. Oh, a famous physicist, Richard Feynman. Anybody have not heard of Richard Feynman? Doesn't matter. He's just famous. He once said, "Nobody ever figures out what life is all about, but it doesn't matter. Explore the world. Nearly everything is really interesting if you go into it deeply enough." Feynman gave us a guide to how to live our life. Namely, you choose a subject which is interesting for you to study, whether it's engineering, science, medicine, law, so that will prepare you for your working life. However, just as important, you should explore and develop interests which will bring you joy throughout your life, especially in your retirement life. So here is my model proposal. The university and the department can identify a few alums who have retired for a number of years, maybe 5, maybe 10, and who, instead of getting bored to death or getting depressed, are enjoying their retirement. Invite them to give talks on their experiences. This will, A, make you aware, or make the students aware, that this is not a trivial matter, and it's something you need to prepare for when you are young. B, make you realize that it is important to develop your interests which you will continue to enjoy, no matter how long you live. This will be the tools that help you grow until you go, and avoid bored to death until you go. The above proposal is simple to implement. It can be, for example, an add-on to an existing course. Indeed, by having me here to talk about this topic, your department is already taking an important step in addressing this missing curricular element. Let me now share with you some of my personal experiences. A few years ago, in 2019, I completed a 2-volume, it's very heavy, 800-page, 28-chapter memoir. I give the title to, and it says, Stories from Bygone Years. So tales from many cities, because I have worked in many cities. So it is Volume 1 and Volume 2. In fact, there are links to these volumes which you can access in the internet. At the beginning, there is a poem which I learned from reading a novel by a Russian novelist named Ivan Turgenev, Turgenev. The poem says, "Years of gladness, days of joy, like the torrents of spring, they hurry away." In the last chapter of this 2-volume, 8-page memoir, the section epilogue has the words, "Based on the experiences in my 8 years in retirement life, I can state that as long as I'm reasonably healthy, I would not get bored, even if I live to 100 years old." In fact, I can say 110 also. To me, there are at least 3 endless sources of joy: travel, music, and reading. Let me talk about each in some detail. Travel. The important thing to note is that those 3 things I developed when I was young, not pick up after I retired. This is a very important point. So, for example, travel. I was introduced to the joy of travel early in my life. In 1957, at the age of 17, I crossed the Pacific Ocean by boat. The boat is named President Cleveland. So I crossed the Pacific Ocean by boat, and I crossed the continent of Canada by train to enroll at Queen's University. I spent the summer of 1958 in the wilderness of northern Ontario, and the summer of 1960 in a place called Lean Lake, northern Manitoba, where the northern lights show its spectacular colors at night. So these are the aurora or northern lights at night.